What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens episode review. Today, guys, we are finally going to be getting into episode 12 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, and my gosh, I have been so excited for this episode, and I will tell you this episode did not disappoint me whatsoever. Now, there were, from what I have noticed, this was a fan dub episode. Apparently, there was some translating issues going into this episode, and I actually read, I watched the episode of the wrong translated episodes. Hopefully, I got the episodes right in this one. I did went back into the site I was using, and I rewatched the episode. I didn't really notice that much difference. So if there is something from the ones that you were able to watch, if there was something different that I mentioned, that was because I read the wrong subtitles. That was the one I did, which I'm not going to really talk much about the dialogue just because of that reason. I'm going to try to stay away from that, which sucks, but that's just what I'm going to have to do in this review, just because of the fact of what was going on. And hopefully episode 13 does get fixed. I got to give credit. The fact that these people go out of their way to make these subs for us to be able to watch it, because without these guys, we would have nowhere to actually be able to watch these, because Crunchyroll isn't doing it. Like, what are we going to be able to do unless we speak Japanese? We take maybe in an hour to learn Japanese, which is impossible. You can't learn you can't learn a different language in basically one go. So we would kind of be screwed unless you knew Japanese and you could read Japanese, which I cannot for the life of me. I don't even think I can say one word in Japanese. So I do want to thank the people that do make these subs, because without them, we cannot do this. We cannot watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens at all. We would have to wait for the dub. So I'm very thankful for them. But let's get into the review. So, what did I think of this episode? Again, I was not disappointed. I've been excited for this. It's protagonist versus rival. I've been excited for this duel since it was built up to this, and finally we're at it, and I'm not disappointed. We start this episode off Mitsuboro and his people, and I'm gonna quickly say I feel bad for Mitsuboro. He gets thrown into this for no reason when he doesn't need to get thrown into this. And yeah, he basically apologizes to Gakuto because they kind of blame themselves for him losing. This is why I like Gakuto. He's a nice character. He's like, no, it's not your guys' fault. I mean, this happens, and I'm really glad that he's not taking it with a grain of salt. I lost. I accept that. Now it's up to Yuga. He's taking this like a champ. I feel like. And I will say though, I don't know what Roman's purpose of this episode was, because she was actually with the group. She was with Yuga and the others. And Rook, I don't feel bad for him. Geez, he's just like, you traitor. Well, I think he actually cussed in this episode. Like, he said, you dang traitor. But obviously, I don't want to swear for in case kids were watching this. But, he says that. And Roman, I don't know where you get to speak in this episode. Like, yes, she was warning Yuga about, Roa is not someone you want to mess around, which I guess Yuga already knows this. He knows that Roa isn't a force to be reckoned with. I mean, we don't know anything about this character, but based off of Roman saying that, we know that he is going to be tough, and we do learn in this duel that he is a threat. He is an absolute threat to this group, to Yuga and to the group. And and what I meant by that, by the way, is Roman doesn't get to say anything. She betrayed them, and she basically just told Rook to shut up, which was kind of funny, but you can't blame him. I mean, you kind of did betray them, but hey, we'll see what happens with her later on, because she really doesn't do anything in this episode. Like, she does feel bad for Yuga, I will say though, which she still cares about the group. I mean, in the ending, she has a picture of them on the phone when she walks up to them, on that balcony. She smiles and then goes up to them, so she does really do care about them. But we get into this, and I've watched Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time now. Basically, since I was a kid, I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, and you know, you always had all those dramatic scenes and stuff like that, and I really did like in this episode because they're like, you know what, you do all these classic effects that do it like anime style. We're gonna make this joke wise, like when Roa does his like turn, draws. He has like a shining draw moment, like all the times for Zexel when Yuma, Astral, and what was that guy's name? Elephas, when he would do his shining draw, that is what that reminded me of a lot. Even though it was just like they threw glitter on him, had a light behind him, like it was great. But before that, dude, before this duel, Kaizo. I don't know what's with this character, but I love Kaizo. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. He hasn't really done much. He's been more of a comic relief character, but I've loved him so far. Like literally, when he was like introducing Roa, he was like Master Roa Kirishima, and is like, and then this is Yuga Oda. Do whatever you want for him. And like he talks about Roman and Rook, and just shames the drummer and Omayo Yushiro. I can't pronounce his name. Gosh. Excuse me on that. He doesn't even acknowledge them, and even like the drummer doesn't give a crap, and then you got that nice line of "I am Omayo Yoshiro." God, I can't see his name. Jeez, but you know you gotta feel bad for, especially for Omayo. I'm gonna call him Omayo because it's easier for me to say. Because you know he's been so. I honestly just want to say to this guy, quit the band and just start doing YouTube videos. I mean, yeah, I'm a slow YouTuber, but I'm still driving. I'm a lot happier than what I would be if I was in your situation. I would rather do YouTube videos and be happy than to feel like I'm mistreated and do that. And maybe people will recognize you from that band, or, well, like, probably not, but who knows. But anyway, we get to the duel. You had that nice moment, and they even go to the point where, like, you know, that intense moment when people are like shadowing over you. Nope, they just bring a big old cardboard of him. I mean, I will say though, I've been enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens so far. It's definitely been more of a jokative show. If you like a more serious tone of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, then this show is definitely not going to be for you. There's no way, shape, or form taking this show seriously. But maybe you would like Reigns, I don't know. But we get to his turn, and he has a pretty good turn, I would say. He just sets 2 cards and sets his entire back row, which if you have played the card game, you never want to see a full back row. You never want to see that. That is the most scariest thing about playing the game, just because you do not know when those things are going to activate, and it might just wipe your field out, like a mirror force or something like that. Which we do see a classic card, which we'll get into a little bit later. Yuga takes his turn, and he summons Light Across. Not Seven's Road Magician like I thought he was honestly going to do. I said in that episode 12 summary that I thought he was going to draw Seven's Road Magician and play him, and then we would get to the whole situation, which we'll get to that in a second. But he summons Light Across, gets back that hilt of the normal arms, and then that Hydro Magician, goes on an assault and destroys his 2 face downs. Yuga attacks with his monster, and he activates a trap. I know it was like King's Wrath, I think is what it's called, which was able to lower its attack points by 1,000. He still was able to deal 1,700 points of damage. Ro is now down to 23. Goes to his turn, and then this is where things get interesting. So this is where we actually get some Yuga backstory that a lot of us were kind of waiting for. Roa kind of was explaining Seventh Road Magician and talking about that card. We see it, and I don't know where he got this video at, but basically we go to see it in the past. Yuga was at this like Gohan duel like tournament kind of thing, and we see a hologram man, which was very interesting when I first saw it, which we do know in the preview he will be in the next episode. I don't like to talk about the previews because I feel like that's kind of spoiling, but because it is, I just am going to just say, if I want to reference something from the preview, I'm just going to do that. But we do know he's going to actually be in the next episode, whatever that might be the case for that. But, we go into this flashback. Yuga doesn't really know what to do because he doesn't really like the rules. The rules got too complicated. And you just see this man, he's summoned Seventh Road Magician. Like, all the times that he's summoning, he was like always saying the summoning chant, like having this weird pose and all that kind of stuff. I think it was honestly really cool. But, you know, he does that, and he smiles at Yuga, says some encouraging words like, let this be your road. to the future or something like that. Again, the subs were a little bit weird from what I watched, and throws him Sevens Road Magician. And this is where things get interesting. Like, they mentioned, like, so that's how he got it. But Roa makes a good point. That was not the point of the story to take about it. It was during that tournament, Goha officials took him out of the arena. And the reason why? Because Sevens Road Magician is not a legal card. This card was created by Hologram Man, which I was wrong too. I thought Yuga created the card, because when you look at his deck, like, you have Sevens Road Witch, you have Sevens Road Mage, I think it was what it's the Sevens Road Kid card. You have that, and then you have some support on him, so Yuga had to create those cards, unless this Hologram Man created those cards as well. But Sevens Road Magician was created by him, and it is an illegal card. Even, like, and all the 6 references, might I add to that, all of the references to the 6s, like, it's like in chapter 66, article 6, article 66, section 6, like, they talked about, like, illegal card, like, you're not allowed to use illegal card and stuff, and Mimi just comes in her go out, she just hides under the crowd, brings back her thing, and first takes a selfie with Rowan, but, I mean, come on, dude. And even they knew that her voice sounded familiar. I mean, I can't believe they are not catching on. If Yuga does not catch on to this, I'm going to be very disappointed in this kid. He's so smart, and you tell me he can't guess that Mimi is this Goa executive, which she says her name is number 6, which is kind of interesting. Not because of 6 reference, but, like, there's 6 groups in the member, and she is the lowest one. Like, she admits she is the lowest out of all 6 of top of Hexagon. So that's kind of cool. And we even get a call from Mr. Goha, which he actually spoke more words than just the ha 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 moments. All he really said was 6666. I think he repeated it twice. Basically 66 twice. Because in section 66, or article 66, section 66, if your opponent draws an illegal card that is in his deck, he automatically loses the duel. That's basically what that section was that Mr. Goa called out of nowhere, because people were getting the complaints. Like, everyone in the crowd was just on their phone sending complaints to Mr. Goha. Goha takes that call, like, how, like, in some animes where they'll overshame, like, the kind of split line, that's what he does, and he's like, 6, 6, 6, 6, like, or he might just say 66, but I don't know, I don't speak Japanese again, but, you had that, little exchange, and Yuga doesn't speak at all after this. Like, he does not mumble a single word except draw when it gets to his turn. That is all that he speaks for the rest of this episode. And even the group, like, goes out to try to figure out that, they think Goha is screwing with them and saying, like, no, Sevens Road has to be a real card. There's no way, because, like they said before, Yuga wouldn't cheat. Yuga's not that kind of kid to cheat, and that makes me wonder, does he? I feel like he might know this is an illegal card. Like, he might, because I feel like he's not dumb not knowing it was an illegal card. Maybe he knew, but no one would find out. And yeah, it's cheating, but I feel I might give Yuga the benefit of the doubt, saying that, he didn't know about this, and that's fair to him. But I feel like he's too smart of a kid not to look up this card, so I don't really believe that. Maybe we'll get some dialogue later on that. But we go to Roa's turn, and I will say that his strategy in this deck is unique, and I really do see this can be a meta deck, because his whole, like, demeanor, like, the whole time he was doing this duel, he was just trying to make Yuga keep drawing so that he can get to Sevens Road. But that might be a viable thing in the game, because the fact that it's so much easier to deck out in this format, because you have to draw 5 cards during your turn. You have to make sure you have 5 cards in your hand when you start the duel, and that's going to shorten your deck very quickly. And you have like, he plays Hand Destruction, which sends your entire hand to your graveyard, and then you draw cards equal to the amount of cards that you discard, which it was great to see Hand Destruction again. We saw Sword and Shield in episode 4, so it's really glad that they're remaking these old cards. Maybe we'll see Gust. I know Gust was released in Rush Duel format, so maybe we'll see that card again. I don't really know. And let me know some cards that you want to see. Maybe I'll make like a list of like cards that I would like to see in the show. Like they're obviously going to be doing like older cards. They did Sword and Shield already, and now they've done Hand Destruction. So it would be really cool to see what cards they might actually bring back into the series. So I can't wait to see what further on they go. But we go to Rook's turn. He keeps I think the other set cards was King's Tex, which was allowed to destroy a level 6 or lower monster on his field, which he basically has no requirements to pay for these cards. Because remember, with like Sevens Road Magician, you have to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to activate the effect. No, he can just activate these cards' effects. Remember, the whole thing about Rush Duel is to have them once per turn effects, which these were, but I felt like the requirement made it really cool. Like, it made you have to think about playing these cards. Like, if you want to risk, like, sending a card from the top of your deck to the graveyard. Maybe it's a card that you need, and you didn't think you needed to send it to the graveyard at that time, but you kind of needed to in that situation. Like, that kind of aspect I really did like, but it looked like isn't like a kind of a thing with Roa's deck, which I don't mind. I really don't, but I think that's just something to kind of point out. But he activates King's Tex to destroy those, and Yuga gets to draw a card. So I guess there is a requirement that Yuga gets to draw a card, which obviously Yuga cannot draw it, because he draws Seven's Road, he's done for. So he draws the first one, isn't it? He activates it again to destroy the Hydro Magician. Draws. No result. And even like Kai's was looking and said, no Seven's Road Magician. Then he summons his monster, he summons his monster, set a card, activates Hand Destruction to send all cards in both players' hands to the graveyard to draw cards equal to the amount that you discarded. Like I said before, Roa only had one, Yuga had three. He had to send those cards to the graveyard and draw. Then he activates another spell card, which lowers... No, Yuga was forced to send his entire head in the graveyard. Or no. Basically the spell card he activates was for every card in Yuga's hand, Light Across would lose attack points. That's what that card was. And then it was the monster's effect that sent Yuga's entire hand to the graveyard. And then he attacks, deals Yuga's damage, destroys Light Across, and now this is where things get even more intense. Yuga has no cards in his hand. His deck is getting thinner and thinner, so there's more of a chance that Seven's Road is going to be drawn in his turn. He takes his turn, he draws, he looks at the first cards. You see the first three cards go by pretty quickly, and then you just see the art, and I knew immediately that this artwork was going to be... Knew it was going to be a Seven's Road card, not just Magician, because Witch kind of has the same, like, kind of background card design. I thought maybe it was going to be a Witch, and then the last card was going to be Seven's Road Magician, but no. Everything gets intense, and there it is. Seven's Road Magician was in that hand that he drew, and that's how they end the episode. Great episode, I would just say that. That was an incredible episode. And I love when shows make that sense, especially ongoing shows. Like, even though I get impatient, that's a problem that I have, is I want to see what happens next. But it makes you excited, because what is going to happen? Because Yuga drew Seven's Road Magician. He technically now has lost this duel because he drew it. And that's probably what the next episode is going to start off with. Like, Kaizo looks at his hand, is like, he drew Seven's Road Magician, you lose the duel, and then this is when Hologram Man comes in, because we do know he's going to be in the next episode. So, guys, man, that was an intense episode. I really did like this episode, seeing that throwback to Hand Destruction, to like even in the intense moments was incredible. Like, you were just worried, like, is he going to draw Seven's Road that turn? Or is that going to be Seven's Road? Like, obviously, I'm not surprised. I'm going to be honest. Maybe it's just because I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time now, and they kind of get predictable at this kind of point. I will say, though, I'm surprised that they did have him draw Seven's Road. The safer route was to be two ways. Either he never draws it, or he activates a monster effect, which can banish the top card from his deck to the graveyard. The top card was Seven's Road, and because he never drew it and he banished it, technically it's not a part of his deck anymore, so he wouldn't lose, unless they did like a kind of thing like that. But no, he draws it this turn, and I can't wait to honestly see what's going to happen. Will he automatically lose this duel, and will this be a Roa win? Will Hologram Man interfere enough to where this goes into Yuga's favor, or maybe, which I don't know if Mr. Goa is going to be in the next episode. I didn't read the episode 13 summaries, and don't spoil that, by the way. Don't spoil anything on the summaries until I do that video. I don't like really spoilers that much, unless I say I want a spoiler and something like that, so don't say anything about episode 13 summaries, because I'm going to get to that, but I don't know if maybe Mr. Goha will step into this and end it in his no result. Who knows, but guys, I'm going to end it off here. Guys, I'm really excited for episode 13. I cannot wait to see how the conclusion of this duel ends. But again, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this episode. This honestly might be my favorite episode so far. To be completely honest with you guys, I really did enjoy this episode. The intensity, the dialogue, even though the dialogue was kind of weird at times when I was watching the sub, especially the first time. Like, I kind of noticed some differences the second time I kind of watched it, but maybe that's just me. Maybe nothing really changed at all, so who knows. But honestly, this was still a really enjoyable duel, and or it's been an enjoyable duel so far, I should say, and I cannot wait to see the conclusion of this duel. But guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I guess one more last thing. Let me know who your predictions, if you did not let me know in that episode 12 summary. Who do you think is going to win this duel? Do you think it's going to be Yuga? Do you think it's going to be Roa? Or do you think they'll go a draw or no result kind of theme? I'll count them as the same just because of the fact that they're basically the same thing in a way. But I really am excited for this next episode. So until next time here, and I'll see you guys next time.